Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Korrra news update video. I'm just going to get straight into it. Obviously today is Friday, which means that it's Korrra new episode day, and today's going to be the day that Civil Wars Part 1 airs, so that's going to be exciting later on from now. As I'm recording this video, it's exactly 12 hours away, so that's pretty cool. But the first piece of news is something I actually forgot to mention in my last video. It was something I really actually wanted to talk about, so I'll do that now. That being the premiere ratings for Book 2 of Korrra. Now, Book 2 of Korrra got 2.6 million viewers last Friday, which is good, but it was a pretty big step down from, say, the Book 1 premiere, the Book 1 finale, and basically all the Book 1 episodes. In comparison to the 2.6, the Korrra Book 1 premiere got 4.5 million. The Korrra finale got, I think, 3.6 million. And then most of the other episodes got in or around like 3.4, 3.3 million. So this was a step down. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. One, new date. New day plus time. So it switched from Saturday mornings to Friday nights, which was obviously going to change a few things in that, this was the first time Korrra has had this air time. Not to mention there was a huge break between Book 1 and Book 2. So did people even know that the time was changing? Did people even know the show was back? And so on. And people just in general getting used to that new change of time. So from that perspective, it's understandable that it's a drop in ratings. I'm wondering how, say, this episode's going to do tonight and going forward. Is it going to go up because people are getting back into it now, realizing that it's back on, or is it actually going to go down like most kind of shows do from the premiere? I'm hoping it goes up just because it was a big drop, nearly 2 million loss of viewers from the Book 1 premiere. But again, that's expected. That's a series premiere. This is a season premiere. Anyway. So I'll keep you guys updated on the premiere stuff, on the podcast and stuff like that. But yep, let's move on to the next bit of information. That is that New York Comic Con is going to have a Legend of Korra panel, and this is big news because it's the first time NYCC has had one I'd say since Book 3. I think they had a panel there ahead of Book 3 airing, and they haven't had one since. Now, on Saturday, October the 12th, which I believe is the second day of the convention, from 11 AM to 12 PM, 1 hour, in the Empire Stage 1E panel room, I assume, we're going to have Legend of Korra panel presented by Brian Konietzko and Joaquim dos Santos. Mike is not going to be there, and there's also going to be some special guests there. The description of the panel reads: Book 2 Spirits, Nickelodeon's Legend of Korra. Join executive producer Brian Konietzko and co-executive producer Joaquim dos Santos as they pull back the curtain to reveal sneak peeks of what's to come in Book 2 Spirits. Exclusive artwork, never before seen footage, and a discussion with some special guests from the incredible The Legend of Korra voice cast will be featured, moderated by Brian Konietzko. So there you go. Never before seen footage, sneak peeks. That's pretty exciting. For anyone wondering where Korra is going to be, they're actually going to give Book 2 sneak peeks. As far as I'm aware, the episode 6, The Sting, will have just aired the day before, the 11th. Which means that the next episodes coming up will be Beginnings Part 1 and Beginnings Part 2, which are the One episodes. Which would make sense for them to show a clip of, since that's one of the big things they're pushing this season, that they're telling the origin of the Avatar story, first Avatar. So they could definitely show the first few minutes of those episodes for a sneak peek ahead of them airing the next Friday, or they could show a Spirit World clip. Either way, I'm excited to see what they do. This is effectively going to be their second half of the season kind of panel stuff. A lot of the stuff that we've got so far has been the Book 1 stuff that we're seeing right now. Unalaq, all the new characters, and then some of the One stuff. So I think now we're going to move into maybe some second half of the season stuff. Maybe some more concept art about the spirits themselves. So either way, that's going to be exciting. Avatar Online podcast co-host Kelly is going to be at this panel, as far as I know. I think she's going to try her best to make it to this panel. So definitely, I'll have news for you from that. Other piece of news relates to this, and that's just on Tumblr. Brian basically posted about this, that they're going to Comic Con for the first time in a while, And someone responded with to reblog this post and said, "Someone please bring up the thing about how there are no women leaders and why Korrra isn't the head of the water tribe, please." So you know the whole Tumblr thing. You know, any time there's this kind of slight gender inequality, they kind of try and quickly call people kind of sexist sort of thing. But Brian just kind of avoided that and said, I can answer this for you now. There are women leaders in the Avatar world during the present time, and I'm just going to read it out. He says, Zuko's daughter is the new Fire Lord, we knew that. And there's an Earth Queen now ruling the Earth Kingdom, so that's new. As for Katara, there is no separate chief in the Southern Water Tribe. Both tribes are officially ruled by a royal descendant, currently Unalaq, residing in the Northern Tribe. Prior to the 100-Year War, I think there was more of a link between families in both tribes, feeding into this ruling family. But the tribes have drifted apart, and the chief residing in the north isn't much more than a figurehead to the south. For the Southern Tribe, we've obviously always imagined there's some sort of council of elders, consisting of women and men, who jointly govern the south. I can imagine Katara takes part in that council, and I can also imagine she isn't interested in being the chief of both tribes. Anyway, while we're on the subject of world leaders, I saw a comment on my dashboard after the Barnes & Noble signing from someone who was dissatisfied with the fact that we didn't continue the Equalist plot in Book 2, and wrote something to the effect that we were just keeping the bending opposers in power and sweeping the plight of the oppressed non-benders under the rug. That is definitely not the case. Our idea was that the Equalist revolution forced the United Republic Council, Tenzin included, to face the fact that the majority of the population was not being represented. As a result, they disbanded the council and held open elections, and Raiko, a non-bender, was elected as the president of the United Republic. Looking back, I do think we could have made it clearer, but I think they were probably trying to not bog down the premiere episode with what we referred to as getting too trade federation-y, since there was plenty to pack into the episode as it was. So, long post, but there's some really nice stuff here. He basically just flat out said, there are women leaders in the world. Of course, the Avatar, Zuko's daughter's the Fire Lord, Earth Queen, really nice new stuff. I assume the Earth Queen's going to come into play in Book 3, given that it's about earthbending, Lin and her family. That makes sense. Maybe Zuko's daughter comes into play then too. I liked interesting what he said about the water tribes, and that the boat tribes are officially ruled by royal descendants. So Unalaq is a royal descendant, which means that Tonraq's a royal descendant, which means that technically Korra is a royal descendant, though she's from the more banished side of that family. So that's interesting. Korra's technically Northern Water Tribe royalty. Interesting. Now, I don't know how this all fits together for Akoda being the chief of the South, because his thing doesn't mention here there ever being a chief of the South, yet we know Akoda was. So I'm assuming that the North helping to rebuild the South after the war resulted in them taking power in the South as well. So still, it's really cool that he explained that way, and that Katara would be interested in becoming the chief. So there you go. And then, as I'd actually said in all my reviews, podcasts, and so on about the first 2 episodes, basically them just saying that there is a president in the United Republic now, and what that meant for how the president came to be, is the resolution to that Equalist plot. I like that. I completely got that when it aired, so I'm so happy about that. Brian basically just came out and said that there being a non-bender president who was elected by the people is the resolution to that. They got their representation because they voted him in themselves. So that's cool. I'm pretty sure President Raiko is going to become a character this book. I believe they mentioned that in another interview. So that's going to be cool to meet the United Republic president. So thanks for watching this video. I think that's all the news I have to cover. Episode later today. Podcast. I have a Korra Roundtable podcast for this upcoming episode, Civil Wars Part 1, on Sunday. So check that out. Thanks for watching, and bye.